Predator is a bona fide sci-fi classic, with about as bare bones of a plot as you'll find in a popcorn action flick from the 80s. You've got Arnie, Jesse Ventura, lots of guns, and lots of explosions. And the titular Predator, of course. For one ugly motherfucker, he has become a staple in the pantheon of science fiction creatures, alongside the Xenomorphs from the Alien franchise and the Terminator from... God, what franchise is that again? Oh yeah, American Cyborg. How could I forget that classic? It's mindless as all hell, but one of the most fun movies in the genre. It was followed by a decent sequel in 1990 and a subpar spin-off in 2004. But if you're one of the 3 people that's viewed any of my other videos, then you know that I don't do movie reviews. Yet. Today we'll be talking about what I would consider the best solo Predator game that's ever come out. Predator Concrete Jungle. Concrete Jungle was released in 2005 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, the latter of which being the console I played it on. Coming out fairly late in the console generation, the Xbox 360 launched a scant 7 months after the game came out. The game is quite graphically impressive. One of the best examples of this is that as your playable takes damage, he gets more and more wounded. Well, more and more splattered and glowing blood. Enemies aren't particularly detailed, save for the boss characters, but in the heat of things, it's sometimes difficult to differentiate between these bosses and the regular fodder. You always know who those bosses are because they have a bad tendency to hit. Hard. Really hard. Like if you get caught by one of their attacks mid-animation, you're boned. But we'll get onto that in due time. The story is nothing terribly exciting. It begins in 1930 in the painfully fictional New Way City. All is calm and serene. Quiet is rapidly interrupted by a large shape blasting through an even larger stained glass window. The shape stands up, revealing an extremely wounded Yautja, his eye nothing but a glowing green socket. The creature stands and begins running, making his way up the side of a building. It stops at the top and heals itself. This is the point where you, as the player, take over. The chase ends with the Predator admitting defeat before activating the self-destruct sequence on both his ship and his bracer. It somehow manages to survive the massive nuclear blast that levels the entire city, and is picked up by a group of elders of his clan. This isn't the place to get into Yautja's social structure. You lot can Google that if you're curious, and exiled to a barren planet that is inhabited by giant bug thingies for 100 Earth years. After his exile is concluded, Scarface, as he's later referred to in the story, is tasked with going to the city that was once New Way City, now known as Neonopolis, and destroy any and all evidence of his existence. What follows is a gratuitously violent and ridiculously fun romp through the seedy underbelly of Neonopolis, culminating in a fight with a human Yautja hybrid that looks ridiculous, I won't lie. The in-between story notes really aren't all that interesting. You're essentially just working your way through the various mobs of Neonopolis, leading you to the Borgia family, a mafia-style organization that basically runs things in Neonopolis. They also have a thriving weapons development program that utilizes tech that was, you guessed it, left behind by Scarface 100 years ago. Oh, forgot to mention that there is one level of note towards the end of the game. In it, you confront the living mastermind behind the Borgia family, Isabella. Isabella is a living brain of their proprietary supercomputer called Mother, and a nice wink-wink nudge-nudge to the Alien franchise. And another nod to the franchise, the enemies fought in this level, and the one after it, are freaking Xenomorphs. And just like in their franchise, they're fast and utilize swarm tactics in an attempt to overwhelm you. But it just doesn't work. At least on normal, they're nothing more than a nuisance that just slows you down. After you defeat the hybrid and the credits finish rolling, you're treated to a post-credits scene before it was cool. The scene is inside of an office, with a couple more name drops that mean something to Alien fans. You know, I don't think I can do this scene justice to describe it. Let's just watch. Roll that beautiful game footage.
Congratulations on a successful buyout, Weyron-san. A merger with my people here at Yutani would put us both at the forefront of global scientific advancement. Mistress Lucretia was indeed most fortunate to survive this horrific and unprovoked assault on her person. We are gratified that you managed to save as much of her as you were able. She would make an excellent replacement for the original bio-hard drive which the monster destroyed. Your gift is most welcome. Thanks to Mistress Lucretia, we now have firm evidence for the existence of alien life, and this prototype for the biological computer we have long dreamed of. A paradigm, they call it.
Who knew a Predator game would have so many references to Alien that didn't say Alien directly in the title? Nobody. That's who. Gameplay is where this one really shines. Well, a fairly standard brawler? Hack and slash? Hack and brawl? Let's go with that one. While a standard hack and brawl, it just feels good. Yeah, the controls are a little loose, and it's difficult to do any kind of precision jumping. The action aspect just works. It does. Executions are the works of art you'd expect out of a train hunter, with heads and limbs flying all over the place. Each swing of your wrist blades and shot of your plasma caster has weight behind it, exactly the way it should coming from a 7-foot-tall pile of muscle. Due to this, though, a majority of the enemies feel like nothing more than tissue paper, collapsing into a pile of limbs and guts after only a couple of hits, making the intimidation factor minuscule for a majority of the game. The sound design is another high point, though, with each weapon having the distinct sound effects they should, pulled straight from the films. I've been kind of glossing around it, but I think now is an appropriate time to mention the weapons and tech available to you. Of course, you've got the light-bending cloak that the Yautja are known for, as well as access to the thermal, neuro, and tech vision modes, each with their own distinctive filter and use. Thermal vision shows you heat signatures of things around you, as seen in the films. Neuro vision allows you to analyze targets' moods and affiliations, and tech vision allows you to more easily spot cloaked enemies. As for weapons, you essentially have access to any weapon you've ever seen in the series up to that point, plus one or two that haven't been seen yet. You've got the basic wrist blades, as seen in every Predator movie, your combo stick, as first seen in Predator 2, your plasma caster, again as seen in every movie, your smart disc, as first seen in Predator 2 again, along with new weapons the glaive, maul, and throwing mines. Even between similarly styled weapons like the glaive and combo stick, they have a distinctive feel to them. Now that's all well and good, but that's not the coolest part of the arsenal in this game. Each weapon has collectible upgrades, 2 for each one, scattered throughout the levels. Each weapon upgrade comes with a design change and a power boost, making even the toughest enemies seem like nothing more than fodder. To go along with these awesome new weapons, you also get to unlock alternate skins for Scarface, making him look like the Jungle Hunter in Predator, the City Hunter in Predator 2, the Alien Hunter in Aliens vs. Predator, and 3 skins that are unique to the game, the base skin, a ritual skin, and a bad blood skin. All of the alternate skins are unlocked by completing secret bonus missions throughout each of the stages, that range from killing a specific NPC, to destroying a particular console, to killing a set amount of enemies before the end of the stage. Now this may boggle the mind of the younger viewers in the audience, but games used to feature secret collectibles in-game that unlock more powerful weapons and different skins. You may be more familiar with things like this as post-release DLC, but I digress. If I had to give this game a hard rating, I would honestly have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. The story is pretty stock, although the references to the overarching franchise are pretty fantastic. Graphics are fairly decent for the time, albeit a little muddled and dark, with the damage decals the high points for me graphically. The controls aren't the best, with movement being kind of loose and jumping more difficult than it needs to be because of this. I realize now that the reason this game stuck out in my mind over the years is the secrets peppered throughout. It's one of the last games I can recall playing that offered so much. It isn't exactly Alien Isolation, but at the same time it's not Aliens Colonial Marines either. It's a nice, middle-of-the-road hack and brawler that doesn't do any one particular thing better or worse than games that have come before or since. Solid, mediocre title, this one. I think all that really remains is my opinion on whether this game is worth it, and I can comfortably say that it most definitely is, if you can find it at a decent price. Due to the market, the Xbox version tends to run a little cheaper than the PS2 version, which is kind of strange when you consider that the Xbox's life cycle would essentially be over in less than a year. I got my copy for $14.99, which is an extremely decent price for what is often considered a rarer title. If you're a fan of the Predator or Alien franchise, you owe it to yourself to track down a copy of this game and give it a go. If you can get past the loose controls and bland story, you'll find a fun and mostly challenging game that is rife with fan service. I wouldn't go out of my way to get a copy, but if your local retro game shop has a copy for a good price, I say pick it up and enjoy. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep up to date and see new videos as soon as they're posted. See you next time, Clan Brothers.